This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. This week's shir is corporately sponsored by our dear friends, Crown Capital Holding. Thank you for the beautiful Gashmius element of this gathering tonight. Thank you, Light Power, for the corporate pickup. We couldn't have done it without you. Okay, so as we go into Lag BaOmer, the Rashbi, and perhaps we're going to attend Maduras and Alakas, I think it's very important that we make the Rashbi not just an ancient figure, but someone that's alive that we can actually learn from. Bizman is that right now. This week's parsha, the parsha says, this is a very interesting mitzvah. Do not desecrate my name. Sanctify me amongst Bnei Yisrael. I am Hashem, your sanctifier. I'm your Mekadesh. Rashi asks, what are these extra lashonos? On and on. Why does it say once you sanctify me? Why does it say don't desecrate me? Etc. So Rashi says a big yisoid. The yisoid is, says Rashi, says Rashi a big chiddush in the pasuk, that the reason why the Torah has to tell you, don't desecrate me and sanctify me, what's the redundancy? The answer is that if a person is ever in a situation where he has to give up his life for Kadosh Baruch Hu, he has to be moiser nefesh, he has to give up his life for Kadosh Baruch Hu, which has happened unfortunately many times, not unfortunately, but it's the greatest mitzvah possible. Says Rashi, Yimser atzmei amnas lamas. Give yourself over on condition to die. Now, what does that mean? Rashi is telling us that the Torah is telling us over here that when a person is giving up his life, it should be al-manas. It should be al-manas that he's taka dying. What does that mean? He's dying. He's being mekadesh in Shemaim. It's the greatest mitzvah. We all know that if you give up your life for the sake of heaven, that it's the greatest mitzvah. So I have to have in mind also. I have to have kavanah l'shem yichud. What's the pshat? So the beautiful Sefer Mish Chachamim brings down a beautiful teretz, beautiful pshat. He says a person can think that as he's going to be executed, as he's about to be killed, whatever, maybe that's Rahman al happening, a person can start conjuring up, start thinking to himself that maybe I'm going to make a bigger Kiddush Hashem in my mind. How? Because I'll hope that to Hashem, that he's going to save me. And if he saves me, then Hashem's revelation and Hashem's Gila is going to be so much greater, because now this guy was almost going to get killed, I was almost going to die, and then all of a sudden there was this crazy miracle and I got saved, and there's going to be so much more Kiddush Shamayim. And that says the Torah, you have to have in ganskait lishma, amenas lamas. And that's what the Torah is telling you, that that when a person is going to get killed, don't start making cheshbonis that maybe I can make a bigger Kiddush Shem Shemayim, and I'm going to say, Hashem, you know what, this is like a big, big thing, I'm like the world's famous, I'm the news, the talk of town, CNN, here I am, and I'm having a mind that it's going to be a big mitzvah to give my life up for Hashem, but I also hope you save me. Says no. So Rashi says no. Have in mind that you want to die purely for Hashem, and if Hashem decides, let Hashem take care of the back end, let Hashem take care of what's going to happen to Maisa, but you just do your mitzvah. You just do your Kiddush Shem Shemayim, of dying amenas lamas. That's the yisoid of the Torah over here. What does this have to do with the Rashbi? What does this have to do with Lag BaOmer? It's very pashut. There's a medrash that says the following incredible story. It's long inside, so I'm going to try to paraphrase it. It's a medrash in, I believe it's in Medrash Yarashim Rabbah, Aleph, Beis. The Maisa goes as follows, and this is a story with the Rashbi. Amr Rav Sidon said the following story. There was once a couple. They were married for many years, and they did not have children. It was obviously a very painful decade of time, and they were seeing no results, no light at the end of the tunnel. And according to halacha l'maisa, not halacha l'maisa, but the halacha is that a person is chayiv to be megarish his wife. A person is chayiv to divorce his wife if they can't have children. Hashem did not create the world to be empty, and we need to procreate. So the halacha is that a person is chayiv to divorce his wife. You don't pass like that. Thankfully, we have organizations that help this issue these days. But me'ikad dedina from the Gemara, a person would have to divorce his wife. So what did this couple do? So says the Medrash an astounding thing. They came to the Heilige Rashbi. They came to the Shimon Bar Yochai. The famous story of the Rashbi is about the caravan he said in the Ma'ara. This is not a well-known famous story, and this is incredible. They came to the Rashbi, and they said, Rebbe, Tana, Heilige Tana, Shimon Bar Yochai, help us out. Tell us, Yilamdeinu Rabbeinu, what should we do? We've been waiting for all these years. We have no children. What can we possibly do to merit Yeshua? And the Rashbi told them as follows. The Rashbi said, make a big feast together, have a big suda, sit down, have wine, have meat, and things will ensue, things will develop. So the wife cooked for the whole day. She babka cookies, poppers, the works, everything. They brought in fresh wine, geschmack, ready to sit down, husband and the wife. And they didn't know exactly what to expect, but they just said, the Rashbi told this is what we should do. So they sat down, the mitzvahs, divrei Chachamim, the Heilige Tana, Shimon Bar Yochai, they sat down. And after the husband drank a lot, and he was filled, and he ate meat and fatty fish, he was very satisfied. And the wife saw that he was starting to get tired. And the husband said to the wife, I want you to do me a favor. He said, when I fall asleep, take the best thing you want from this house. He fell asleep, and the wife didn't know exactly what to do with this. The husband fell asleep, and the next morning, the husband found himself in his father and mother's house, in his parents' house. He woke up, he was all confused. The last night he was with his wife, sitting by the Suda, and the next morning, his bed was removed, and he woke up in his parents' house. He ran back to his wife, and he said, I don't understand, like, makara, what happened to you? You kicked me out of the house? I told you take the best thing out, and you kicked me out? And the wife said, you're the best thing in my life. You're the only thing I really care about. I love you so much. So I want to fulfill your word, kikutzei shel yod, to the T. So I had to remove you. I had to take you out of the house, even though I didn't understand, even though it didn't make sense. How can it be that my actions, how can I justify my actions of kicking you out? How can that add up to me loving you? But he said, you told me, and I have to honor you, to take the best thing out of the house, so I took you out. After that, they went back to the Rashbi. The Rashbi said, after, a day later, come back. Came back, and the Rashbi said, knew what happened, and they told him how the story went, that they had the meal, and what the husband said, and that the wife kicked the husband out of the house. And at that moment, what happened? The Rashbi started crying and screaming, beseeching the Eibishter, and Nes Hayasham, this couple was blessed 9 months later with a baby. That's the Maisa. So the kasha is, what happened at the beginning, what happened at the end? If the Rashbi was able to daven in the beginning, he was able to break the iron gates, break through to the Rekir Dishmaya, Pamaya Dishmaya, and break through straight through to Hashem. What did he wait? What was this whole having the Suda kicking him out? Good kasha? Understand? The answer is that the Rashbi had to see that there was an emes, an aspiration, and a chukah, the strongest desire for Zera Shel Kayama at any cost. And even if it didn't make any sense to this couple, why they should make the meal, why they're waiting, why should the wife have to kick out the husband, the Rashbi was telling this couple that he needed to see full clarity, highest level, that they were nimsa, they were given over to Hashem, lishma, that they wanted Zera Shel Kayama, and at that point, only then, was he able to storm Shemayim, and the Rezeich, they merited children. So what do you learn from this? Le'inanenu, the Rashi is telling us, and this is the parsha, Nigdashti b'seich b'nei Yisrael. We have agendas, sometimes we don't understand, sometimes we need things. And the Yisoid of the Rashbi, the Yisoid of Lag Ba'omer, is when we remind ourselves that sometimes we don't understand the full picture. Sometimes we're not sure how things make sense. We're not sure how we're going to get from A to B, A to Z. But the Rashbi, Tana Lekai, reminds us through this story that when we align ourselves with Shemayim, with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, we can be zeicha to anything. And on this Lag BaOmer, we have a chance and opportunity as we're dancing, wherever we may be in the rain and not in the rain, but to access this. Shmi, beseech Hashem, align to His plan, whether we understand or not. Just do the right thing. Just do Ratzon Hashem. And that's what the Rashi is telling us with this story. And Be'ezer Hashem, when we implement this into our lives and just strive to do the best, strive to always be connected, strive to take our own machshavas and our calculations out of the picture, and just do what the Eibishter wants, may we all be zeiche to the same Geulus, Yeshuas, and Achamas as well. Shkoyach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.